Hello everyone, Spider here, back at another Marvel Content Champion video. Today we're going over another champion concept, and this is one that I'm feeling really strong about, and it's of a character that I really want in the game a lot, Spider-Man Noir. He is my favorite Spider-Man, and it's a shame he's not in the game yet. I feel like he's like the last missing piece of like all the Spider-Verse characters. Like we just need Noir, and I feel like we're set with all the Spider-Man characters. But yeah, so let's continue with the concept, and as always, these are purely fan made and they're not real, etc. Leaked. Did that out of order. This was just for fun, and yeah, no face cam today. Don't feel like setting up right now. I gotta do something in like 10 minutes, so it's gonna be a quick one, hopefully. And yeah, goals for the champ, however. I want to create a hard-hitting physical dual threat with raw damage, high physical resistance, and also buff control and evade. And he is a mystic character. You probably would think he's a science character due to him being like a Spider-Man, but the way this version of Spider-Man got his powers is he broke this artifact, and it was full of a bunch of spiders that swarmed and surrounded him, and he had a dream of the spider god while he was like wrapped inside this cocoon. And then once he emerged, he had spider powers. So that sounds pretty mystical to me. I don't know about you. So yeah, this Spider-Man is a mystic character. And he is a hero, size small, and he's a Spider-Verse hero. Always active. Peter's hard life left him numb to physical pain. Noir is immune to buffs, rupture, and trauma. And also, Noir is suited up with a Kevlar suit, granting him a permanent physical resistance passive, increasing physical resistance by X at the start of each fight. Noir's personal physical resistance also reduces physical resistance reduction potency by minus 25%. So it's a lot of words there, a lot of physical resistance. You're probably, you'll probably die if you take a shot every time I say physical resistance. But essentially, what this means is any attempts to reduce his physical resistance gets reduced for each of his physical resistance buffs or passives, if that makes sense. But continuing, Peter gains additional crit rating based on his physical resistance. Again, take a shot. Whenever a buff is prevented or a buff passive expires on the opponent, Noir is given a physical resistance buff for X seconds, increasing physical resistance by plus X. That's 2 shots. Basic attacks. Noir cannot crit naturally. Instead, whenever he would crit, he inflicts a physical vulnerability debuff for X seconds. For each physical vulnerability on the opponent, he reduces buff and buff passive potency by X%. So I thought this was really cool. I don't think we've ever had like a champion in the game that could like reduce passive buffs potency wise. At least to my knowledge, I don't think we have one of those yet. So already this makes him a really unique champion with a lot of uses in the game. For his heavy attack, if Noir punishes the opponent with a heavy attack, he roots them for X seconds. While rooted, the opponent suffers minus X% combat power rate. Noir also gains plus X% increased combat power rate, and all of Noir's attacks have a 100% chance to inflict an X potency petrified debuff for X seconds. So this really helps him control, like power and regen. So it gives him a nice utility there if the spacing works. But for the special one, Peter shoots out 2 blasts of webbing at the opponent before roughing them up with a few knuckle sandwiches. Web hits inflict a 15% potency suppression debuff on the opponent for X seconds, and melee hits deal an extra burst of physical damage. Physical burst damage can trigger through block, so you really want to make sure you're dexing the specials. You don't want to get hit by it at all. A little bit of defensive capabilities there. Also, the final hit also inflicts the opponent with a buff immunity passive for X seconds. So to continue with his buff control, if all else fails, special one, buff immunity. So far, buff immunity is one of the, if not the best way for buff control, because there's really not a whole lot to get around that, unless you're a shrugger. But here it's a passive, so there's really no way around it. So he can guarantee that the opponent will never gain a buff, and it's on the special one, so it's pretty easy to gain access to. Special 2, Noir pulls out his Thompson machine gun and lights up the opponent. After this, he swings over them and deals a devastating blow to the noggin. Bullet hits have a 100% chance to place a power drain debuff on the opponent draining X% of a bar of power over X seconds, and can trigger through blocks. So this is really for defense, and it's a really good safety net if you know you got a lot of power gain. They're a special 3, but you got the special 2. Pretty nice utility there. Also, the final hit gains increased attack rating based on physical resistance and deals a burst of physical damage. Alright, the special 3. Noir and his opponent exchange blows before Noir puts his hat in his opponent's face, grabs a card with his web, and sends it at them. Noir lands just as the blast sends his hat back to him, where he brushes the dust off his shoulder and places it back on his head. So kind of like what he did in the first Into the Spider-Verse, where he grabbed the card and threw it at, I think it was like Tombstone or Scorpion. But added a little bit there where he gets his little hat back and brushes it off. Thought it would be pretty funny for a little special 3. But anyway, what the special 3 does is it gains plus X attack rating for each physical vulnerability on the opponent for the duration of the attack. Also, all personal physical resistance buffs are doubled after this attack. So this is just going to give him an absolute monstrous amount of crit rating, so you're going to be able to stack even more physical vulnerabilities. And for your standard matchup, you probably will just go special 3 spam. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do it, unless you do need the utility of the special 1 and special 2. If you need some power drain, special 2, buff control, special 1. But yeah, aside from that, I think just special 3 spam, get those physical resistance buff, get those physical vulnerabilities up, and that's pretty much it for Spider-Man Noir. It's a pretty simple rotation. He's really just about hitting the opponent and trying to get them down that way. But the Awakened ability, Gift of the Spider God. When Noir's opponent reaches a power bar threshold, all suppression, power drain, and petrify effects are paused for X seconds. When Noir would be struck with a projectile, he gains a Spider Sense passive for 1 second. Spider Sense grants him a 100 to 150% chance, based on SIG level, to evade all projectile attacks. Spider Sense is paused during opponent special attacks and not triggered while blocking or during well-timed blocks. Once triggered, Spider Sense goes on cooldown for X to X seconds based on SIG level. So the reason it can go over 100% is just in case there's anyone who reduces ability accuracy, can make him really annoying on defense. Especially, I think Red Goblin, he reduces Spider-Verse champion evader ability accuracy by 100%. Well, he would still have 50%. So he could still evade against characters like Red Goblin, or just if you don't absolutely shut him down, he can still evade. Essentially, that's what I wanted here to make him really bigger threat on defense. But yeah, that's Spider-Man Noir. Again, feel really strongly about this guy. I think this is one of the kits that I've made that really flows together. Covers a lot of ground without being too overbearing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what other champions you want to see me create concepts for or buff concepts in the comments below. Goodbye.